How many players have ISL clubs produced for India in the last 10 years? Zero. All the fucking ISL clubs put together not even produced one. Anyone can go buy players. Who's going to produce the players? It's not rocket science. You just focus on the fucking youth. Bangladesh is going to be beating us soon. So is Nepal. So is Afghanistan. Why? Because they're doing it the right way. The lowest budget of all sports in India, the lowest by the government support, is football. So looking at the infrastructure, ISL clubs should have, and the money they have, and the coaches they have, they should have produced better players than I have produced in the last 10 years, and they should have produced more players. How many players have actual ISL clubs produced for India in the last 10 years? I'm not talking about Bangalore FC, because BFC is an I-League club because they had their academy when they were an I-League club and they carried it further.
And I guess you're probably claiming that that's what should have happened with everyone. But
zero.
Because it didn't.
Can you believe zero? Bro, zero. Yeah. They have not produced even one player. None of them. All the fucking ISL clubs put together not even produced one international for India. So do you understand they are not there for the development? They're a commercial entity. Because if you're looking at your own future, for example, Manchester United, and I'm not a fan, by the way, I'm also a fan. Okay. So, yeah. So Manchester United in the last 60 years have never had a squad without a Manchester United academy boy. And you can't tell me that Alex Ferguson को सिफारिश लगाई गई थी कि यार इसको खिला ले, हमारा record खराब है. Nobody does that. They've got top managers. They will play the best 11. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I saw a stat that 66 of the players who have played in the last 6 years of India have all played in the I-League, and 4 or something who were brought in were from abroad, or they'd done some football abroad, basically.
No. I tell you, let's talk about those 4. We'll come to that. So when you see these stats, you see that these guys are not. So imagine we've got one Minerva. I produced 240 internationals, and I'm saying my facilities are not even 1/10 of compared to any ISL club. The money I have is not even 1/100th. So I am not a genius. I am not doing anything spectacular. It's not rocket science. You just focus on the fucking youth, you will get results. None of them do it. Why? Because the 4 crores they save, they can get one Roy Krishna. And they want that for that year. So what is that doing? 6 foreigners in the ISL in the first team means if I'm a coach, I don't blame the coaches. If I'm a coach, my 2 strikers will be foreigners, my 2 midfielders will be foreigners, my 2 centre backs will be foreigners. Where can the Indians go on the sides? So I used to have trials. So in 2015, I had a trial in Imphal, Manipur. Okay, I had 3,000 kids turn up, and took 3 days to look at all the boys. Out of 3,000, we had 970 who wanted to be strikers. We did a trial last year. We had around 2,800 boys turn up, almost the same number, 64 strikers, people who wanted to be strikers. Why? Because if there is no hospital in my area, why the fuck will I study to be a surgeon? So if an Indian is never going to get a job as a striker in the leagues, why will he want to be a striker? So kids don't want to be strikers. Then you say, where is the next Sunil Chetri? There is no next Sunil Chetri, I'm sorry to say. Because even the kids now who are coming for trials who are 13 and 14, none of them want to be strikers. Because their parents have told them, earlier they used to say, oh, don't be a goalkeeper, man, be a striker, don't do this. That's what parents do. They're saying, no, don't do that, be a left back, be a right back. Little kids who are like 5 who saying, I want to be a right back.
They always say you don't grow up dreaming to be a Gary Neville.
Who wants to be a Gary Neville, man?
Oh, so by the way, Gary Neville came to my academy 6 months back for the Apollo program, Apollo Tires. They were doing something, and he gave an article that I didn't know that India had such great academies. So
really,
so infrastructure, and the infrastructure is not the problem. The problem is the federation. Everything starts from them. For example, like I was saying, his friends. We had a very big incident with the women's team where the coach was accused of molesting his own team. And we, as the COA, when I was appointed there, I told the other guys that, listen, if I have a daughter, I'll never fucking send my daughter to a football. If she's in football, I'll take him out of football. She's playing for India, and I mean, this is what's happening to her there. So you get this monster out, we banned him. We banned that guy and we said he can't come into football again and let him face the criminal case or whatever. The moment the CEO is taken away, because FIFA banned us because of that, that the COA was put as third party interference. The moment this new thing came in, they unbanned him. So he's having a job now. And
What?
that's what's happening in our country. So we had thought, okay, we have made a rule that there will be only women's coaches with the women's team. And obviously there will only be women's physiotherapists. How the hell can you put male physiotherapists with the it's just common sense, especially in a country like India, man. Then then they not only did that, they went and appointed somebody called Ranjan Chaudhary with the Indian women's senior team, who's never had international exposure before, and he's 73. So which vision are you looking at? And the only people, by the way, who could have made the World Cup was not the men, unfortunately, were the women.
Yeah.
So how are we going to make the World Cup? When you got 10 Indian boys playing in the Champions League, then we're going to make the World Cup. Because Korea, they've got a brilliant league, but the entire international team plays in the top European leagues. The same with Japan.
Yeah.
The same with Iran, by the way. That's the three countries which qualify for the World Cup every single time. Even though they have a great league at home, they are the Champions League winners. Sometimes it's Japan, sometimes it's Korea, sometimes it's Iran, and the club competitions, but they don't play there.
Yeah, it's a separate conversation where the power of football is. Like Europe is, and it's going to be the center. Even though South America's produced great talent, for example,
yes,
their best players come to Europe.
You need to get out of your comfort zone. Now, these players are so comfortable. For example, any of them in the Indian national team, again, no disrespect, but would not get more than £2,000 or $3,000 anywhere in Europe. The national team players. Why are they getting this much money here? So Anwar Ali, by the way, is better paid than the latest boy we produced. What's the guy's name? Miley Reich's a 17-year-old Arsenal boy. Who's doing really well, man.
Miles Lewis Kelly.
Yeah, Miles Lewis. He's getting 3.8 crores. Anwar Ali is getting 4.8 crores a year. Can you believe that?
No,
and he's the highest.
I'm sure it'll change soon. But
yeah, so Anwar is the
really
highest
surprising.
Indian player. He's the highest Indian player, but is he as good as him? No, he's not. But why is he getting that? Because there's one Anwar Ali. Imagine there's one Anwar Ali. If there were 1,000 Anwar Alis, he wouldn't have got that. How would there have been 1,000 Anwar Alis if there would have been 1,000 Minervas? There's only one Minerva, there's only one Anwar Ali, and that is why he's getting that money. And that's why India is doing badly. Because if Anwar Ali is going to get $2,000, then here or there, he will go abroad and take a chance. Then he will leave his comfort zone. Right now, outside he doesn't have any fans. He doesn't have any money. He doesn't have any security. Here, he doesn't have to do anything. He just goes and appears, and he still is so good that he's going to make money. So as long as Indians don't get out of here and get to Europe or any place else out of India, you're never going to get good. And that's why ISL has fucked us. ISL is not doing any development in youth. They're not doing any development in letting those players go out. The women were doing well. There were 6 girls playing in the Champions League. But then what do? They put this kind of a coach, and we go and lose to Nepal or to Afghanistan or somebody like Bangladesh we lost to. And the women used to thrash till last year. We were thrashing Bangladesh 6 or 7-0. By far, we were that good. The women were so good. And they've just made them mediocre. The same way with the SAF Cup, he put one of his own friends again. And we went and lost the SAF Cup for the first time in 5 years. Out of the 11, the under 20 Asian Cups, we have qualified for 8 of them. And we're not going to qualify this year. Even when there was nothing with us, we were bhuke nanga and we didn't have any food. We were still fucking qualifying for the Asian Cup. And now when we have everything, we are not going to do it. So there's something other than the footballers being bad.
Of course. Wow. It's a lot to take in. But one question I had, so we'll steer it to a slightly more positive note because there are people like you who do care and who do want to see a change.
I want to talk about the last thing. You were coming up with the 4 players who made it from outside the I-League. So the 4 players we're talking about, one is Ishan Pandita. Ishan is a Bangalore boy. I know his father very well. He was sent after paying 16 lakh rupees a year to a program called the Madrid School Program, and he went and trained in Spain for 2 years. From being a good footballer, 16, he came back to India and got into the team and to the ISL. Same with Akash Mishra, who's a UP boy, Uttar Pradesh boy. There was no football in Uttar Pradesh. I know him really well. And he went to Germany for again 3 years and he made it in the team. Same with Sahel. He was in UAE for 3 years. So they were not born and brought up there. They were born and brought up in India. Left India at the age of around 13, 14. Came back at 17, 18 and made product. And they were that good in 4 years. So it's not about our genes or our we don't have the genes to do that, or maybe it's in the blood. No, it's not. Because it's the same blood, Hamza Chaudhary, Bangladeshi is our same blood, man. Or, for example, him or Saprit Singh playing for New Zealand there in the World Cup,
Yeah.
or these guys. So they just had better training, better facilities, better food. And that is why they became better players. It's a direct consequence of that. But at
Yeah.
what age? So what happens now? They stop caring about boys. They just start thinking, oh, under 19 AFC, under 16 AFC. There's no under 15, under 14, under 13. There is no
Yeah.
planning at all. There's zero planning. And that is why I know there's going to be no Vision 2047. And that's why, if you want to talk about something positive, 2034 World Cup batch has come up, which is my baby. And I've
I was
said,
going to ask
fuck,
about that.
fuck them all. And I can either keep crying about this or I can do something on my own. Because if Iceland can do it with a population of 300,000, which we have in our Diwali ka Mela, that's true. Okay. So we can do it. So we carried out this scouting all over the country, and we are known for our scouting. When we go to different states, how we are different is we go to every district because the poor kids, just to travel from one city to the capital, will take 1 day, and no father will leave his day job worth 1,000 rupees, take him there for the leave day, and bring him back, maybe not get selected. So he's lost 2,000 rupees of his daily wages for a 7 year old. Nobody does it. And then people go and charge money for trials, so nobody does it. That's even AFF doesn't do it. So we went to every district, especially in the ones we know, states we know are going to have footballers and produce footballers. So 380,000 footballers were scouted by us. Out of 380,000 over a year, we selected 260 of them now. And they've got a 10-year scholarship, 10 years, free food, education, kits, everything free. And I'm doing that because my dream is that before I die, I'm going to get India to the World Cup. And that's in 2034. And what did these boys do? So we have a plan, which is tickable, not like him. So our under 12s needed to go and dominate the under 12s in Asia, which we did. We dominated and we won the MENA Cup in our very first year. Then we went on after that, the next year to the Gothia Cup under 14s. They were world youth champions. We beat Brazil in the final, Brazilian team in the final, Spanish team in the semi-final, German team in the
Wow.
quarterfinals. 100, we scored 48 goals, conceded only two, and we were the first Indian team in 70 years to win it. And then the next target this year. So this is the big reveal. This year we are going to be going for the first Indian club or the first club in the world to win 4 European titles in 1 month in the four
Wow.
biggest tournaments of the world in youth. That means each of them will have at least 20,000 participants and 150 countries each. So Dana Cup in Denmark, Helsinki Cup in Finland, Gothia Cup in Sweden, and Norway Cup in Norway in July. So come watch us, guys. You're not very far.
Well, no. I will try my absolute best to come see that. We'll talk about that nearer to the time. I'm very excited to make that one of my summit trips. I can't wait.
Wow.
But
But what I
so
love,
go on, Shams. No, I'll ask you a
but what
question
I
first.
love is that premise of developing youth and then testing them at the right age against others. So you have a yardstick or you measure progress to that. Because the lack of you need that to
Yeah,
obviously one
exactly.
to
So
raise
you know
your
what
guys'
to
mentality.
tweak. Yeah, you know
Yeah,
how far you are, or are you doing the right thing? That means you're good enough. So, or you need to raise something better. So you get a report card every year. You only get a report card if you test yourself against the best, and
Yeah.
yearly. And
yeah,
that's what we're trying to do. But now what happens? Now these boys, I see India's Minerva's not going to play the World Cup. It's going to be India. So they need to take over because I've got these 15-year-olds who are now kind of mini world champions and they need to be groomed because India is
Yeah.
going to play. There's no one to play. What do I do? What do I do?
yeah.
I can't do anything.
Well, that's where that's where the two biggest problems, right? The talent identification, which you did with the World Cup back, and then the nurturing of the talent. But the thing is,
Exactly.
the Indian football is like a funnel when it should be a pyramid. It should be the
Ah,
foundation and then go up. But it's top down with ISL,
it's
and then
like
as
that.
you just
Yeah,
said,
it's like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. And then, as you said with Alex Ferguson, they're not nurturing anyone into their academy. But what I need to know is,
Bro, if not
I
only Alex Ferguson, look at Mohan Bagan's latest statement. Mohan Bagan's director comes out and says, or the CEO comes out and says, we don't. Some of the fans said, "Why have you closed down your academy, which was doing so well?" Says we don't want academies because our fans are only looking for titles, and we'll buy the best players and get the titles. That's the outlook. Now look at Barcelona, La Masia. Do they actually need to produce their own players? They're the richest club in the world, and so is Manu. But because they didn't leave that, they're still alive today because they ran out of fucking money last year.
Yeah.
And if they didn't have
sustainability.
Pedri, yeah, if they didn't have all those wonder boys, they were dead. They're still challenging for the title, man. Imagine that. They're in the Champions League as well, semi-finals. And I mean, that's the power of your own youth development. One day you will be poor. What will happen then? Anyone can go buy players. Who's going to produce the players?
That's what I don't understand. It doesn't take a genius to have all these visions or host a tournament. And you can see India's national team didn't win a game in 2024. And then you set all these goals, and it's like, well, guess what? Football's only a 15-year career. Who's going to replace them? Like, where's the planning?
Our
I just don't
national team
understand.
coach Manolo says that he's saying our 15-year under 15s, he's ones he's seen in Goa, are as good or not, if not better than the Spanish under 15 boys he sees there. So it's shown again and again. So in there, there have only been two boys in the top 60 Guardians list, which comes out in England. And the only two Indians are my boys, Bikash Shumnam and Himanshu Jangra. But they were under 16s. Who were the people with him in the list? Phil Foden. And people like that, Pedri and all who were there in the list with him. Where are they? Where is he? Why? Because there was no competition for him. He died down there. And that's it. Whereas, look where they went.
And I think it's important to note that. So speaking about what we're observing in our own country, that identification and scouting is getting younger and younger as the generations go by. So like someone like Jude Bellingham was clocked at the age of when he was like 13. They already knew he was going to be like, the next big thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shams. So
Yeah,
the gap is going to get bigger and bigger if nothing's done about it, right? Because
Yep.
it's not
Yep.
like European countries are going to stop continuing to try
Forget
improve their
European, my
talent,
brother.
right?
Forget European. The gap's going to get bigger right here.
Yeah,
Bangladesh is going to be beating us soon. So is Nepal. So is Afghanistan. Why? Because they're doing it the right way. Do they need money to do that? No. Look at Uzbekistan. Okay, giving you an idea of Uzbekistan. 2018, Uzbekistan was 127 and India was ranked 125. Uzbekistan, okay?
yeah.
Yeah, and 2025, we are still 127. We are 127. We are worse. We are where they were. And they are at 58. They're 58
yeah,
from 125. I mean, they've got one guy playing for Manchester City, man.
yeah. The centre back. Also, the
Yeah.
other thing I saw was the J League going back to Japan. Is that started in '93? Arsene Wenger came 2 years later to Grand Passé at '95, and now Japan, women's wise, I think are fourth in the world, and men's wise, they're like 15th. And look at what we've done in 28 years to 30 years, and look at what they've done.
So
And
they had a
put it into
vision.
the
So
academy.
they
They
had
had
a
a
vision.
100-year vision.
They
I was
had a
literally just
100-year
about to
vision.
say,
So
look how long term
imagine,
they got to look.
just imagine that, bro. You're planning for
Crazy.
when you're not going to be here. For children who've not even been born yet, you're planning for them. That's the vision.
And then my other question was, when Arsene Wenger comes fee for global development, I was going to ask you as an academy owner and obviously a team owner, I always hear, and me and Jay always read about it, Barcelona, Real Madrid take out their academies in India, Barcelona have them, FIFA academies come in. Can you just please tell me, as someone on the ground, what impact do they have, if any?
Zero. Zero
Zero.
impact. Why? Because, for example, Barcelona and Real Madrid, they charge 25,000 rupees for a 1 week session, which includes 4 sessions of 1 hour each.
Yeah.
Forget India. How many people in England can afford that?
No, not many.
Okay. So exactly. So that's exactly not many. And you get the rich kids going there, and because they get the Barcelona shirt.
Yeah.
If we say in India we've got 600 million or 700 million cricket supporters, And they came up with this ridiculous number of 200 million football supporters. And I said, where the fuck did you come up with this number? Oh, he's saying, yeah, Indian football is like 40 million, 160 million is European football.
Yeah.
So you've got European football, really serious, crazy fan lovers. You've got Man U fans, Man U fan groups. You've got Arsenal fan groups. And they are really, really serious about it. They won't know anything which is going on in Indian football. And I don't blame them because you got the same channel showing us and you got Man U playing. Who will you watch? You got the same 90 minutes. I mean, I'm not going to spend time watching that crap. I won't watch that.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Yes, what has FSDL done? That everything other than the football, that means the grounds, the commercials, and the glamour around it, the glitz around it, everything is like the Premier League. The football, oh fuck, that's so bad. It's worse than what it was 20 years ago. I've seen clips. Someone had put up clips of us playing Australia in the Olympics and when we were thrashing them. I was saying, oh my gosh, these guys are actually good. It wasn't that the Aussies were bad. These guys were good. And then I seen my clips of these guys, Argentina's main team coming and playing us in the 83 thing. See, I'm sounding like such an old fucker, man, talking about 83 World
I
Cup.
love
Man.
it.
Oh,
We
yeah.
love that stuff.
See,
So
no,
we love
but I
looking
was,
back on
see,
it.
bro, I was 5. I was 3 then. 83, I was 3 years old, 4 years old. So I saw that now and I said, oh my God, we were competing with Argentina. Competing means on an equal
Yeah.
basis. So it was never that, oh my God, Argentina's here, we're going to get thrashed. And then my father told me that he was on duty. He was just freshly on duty and in Bengal, in Kalimpong. And he went to Bengal and remember Pele came there. And when Pele came there, there were 150,000 people and they played a match with the Mohan Bagan East Bengal All Stars and they won 2-1 and we took the lead. And again, clips of that match shows that Indians were not looking out of place at all. But something has happened where it's the administration which has got us back so far. And then they come up with these quick fix solutions of showing, again, Kalyan Chaubey knows about it, but he keeps on lying that we're going to get PIOs, we're going to get PIOs, we're going to get PIOs because every other country is doing it. But unfortunately, the bad news is that our constitution says that we can only have one passport. And unless that changes, and trust me, that's not going to change for football. It's going to change as a law in the country and it has to be put up in the parliament. It's not going to happen, guys. Fuck, man. There are more important laws to change than that. So that's it. Again, even if it was possible, it was going to be a quick fix solution. It's not a long term solution.
We were going to ask you about that because obviously we know dual citizenship can't happen. And you've got Raiz, Nabi, Isaiah Suleiman, all these British Pakistanis now playing for Pakistan. And I know they don't even have a domestic league, but Hamza Chowdhury for Bangladesh.
Maybe they change it, bro. Maybe if Pakistan beats her ass in one of the FIFA matches with these guys, then they actually change the law. That's the only way.
So
I'm serious.
Go on,
I'm serious. If they actually beat us, and I really hope that if that happens, then they actually change the law because that's the only way BJP will get stung into action. That okay, how do we beat Pakistan?
Yeah, no, well, my question was obviously around the PIO OCI things for two reasons. One, obviously, I think I agree with you, it's only going to be a short to medium term, just to show them the quality and to obviously boost Indian football now. I know it's not a long term thing. A long term is what we said about infrastructure and academies. But I thought that is a way to show at least ambition that you care about the vision, right?
Not only ambition. What happened in cricket, my brother? So we were not good in cricket at all. We won the 83 World Cup. That's where the revolution started. So unless and until the national team does well, there's going to be no support. We need our national team to do well by hook or crook. If there's a way out. So Bangladesh, by the way, so I did a study on this proper thing because I had one boy called Triman Ranveer, who was a Belgium boy, who was really, really good. Yeah, he was really good. And it was so sad that he was willing to give up his Belgium passport. And it was such a tiresome 5-year process, even for a sportsman. I mean, your career ends. No one's going to wait for 5 years, man. So I did a study and I saw Bangladesh also had the same rule, but FIFA has a different rule. So they don't need actually a passport. They need something known as a certificate. So some countries allow dual passports. Some countries allow a certificate plus something known as a passport and something known as a citizenship certificate, which Bangladesh has issued to Hamza and other people as well. So there are ways around to circumvent it. How's that going to happen? The day you have someone who really loves football in power and who cares, only that day. because the lowest budget of all sports in India, the lowest by the government support, is football. Even sailing and kayaking has a higher budget given by the government to them. So that happened when Praful Patel was in power, and they wanted him out, and so they thought by hurting him from a 80 crore budget, they made it 10, 40, 30, 20, 10, and 0. But now they put their own man. I mean, Kalyan Chaubey is a BJP man, but they have not taken the budget up. Why? Because the Indian government, in all its wisdom, thinks that we should only concentrate on Olympic sports or sports where we have a chance to get a medal.
That's the
So the
same
funding,
thinking that we had when we didn't enter the World Cup like 70
exactly,
years ago.
exactly.
How many times do you need
My
to learn the same
God.
lesson?
See the funding. I mean, you talking about football, okay? You're saying you're not in the top 8 of football, so you can't go. Oh my God! Do you understand that if you don't fund them, they will never be in the top 8?
It should be
The
the opposite. If you're not in
Yeah,
the
And
top 8,
because
you get
once you're in
more
the top
funding.
8, you don't fucking need the government's money, man. You
yeah,
don't
and
need their money.
also
We'll be rich, okay? If you're in the top 8, we need their money now to get in the top 8. That's what happens with all the athletes in India. Once you get a gold
Exactly.
medal in the Olympics, you're a rich man because you get money then. But you don't need money then. You need, because then money is just going to come to you from sponsors. You need money when you're an athlete and you don't have anything. So the number of footballers or athletes or sports people we lose because the funding doesn't reach them but reaches the top. Again, see the same, reaches the top where it's not supposed to be, it should be the bottom. That's happening in football, bro. It's happening in every sport in India. That's why we are doing so badly. The system sucks.